Hi, my name is Kayla Shumway, and this is my video for EDLD for the summer of 2018. I have set this video to really focus on the 5 things that I have learned this summer. So we're just going to go through them one by one. Here we go. So number 1, this was one of our modules, responding when students don't learn. One of the things that I really reflected on in this reading was the RTI process that my school currently uses. We really focus on creating student interventions as a team, looking at all the data to try to decide what would work best for that student, and then monitoring those strategies to make sure that they are successful, and if they're not, changing them. One of the things that I really reflected on during this reading was that we are serving all students, and I feel like a lot of times our gifted students get left out and we're not necessarily extending as much as we should. So that's something that I really want to work on this upcoming school year. The other thing that really stuck out with me was guaranteeing that all students are served, not just based on their grade levels. So 2 things really stuck out with me here. Making sure students are getting what they need. So if a student is on the lower end or the upper end, we can push that student into another intervention group, even if the other students in that group aren't of the same grade level. So making sure it's based on needs and not grade levels. The other thing that I reflected on with this is making sure time-wise we are offering students what they need, and we're not just giving them before or after school opportunities, because some students can't make those. Something else that came to mind for this was our special needs students, or our EIP students with a label. Sometimes I feel like they get left out of some intervention groups because we feel like they are already getting enough intervention, but I feel like they can't possibly get enough. We could push them into those groups as well. So the next thing is hiring new staff. The main thing with this one, I feel like a lot of schools come into conflict with time. Whenever that window opens, we want to interview as quick as we can, and we want to make sure we hire those candidates as quick as we can to make sure we get the best of best. But at the same time, we put ourselves in that boat of we're not spending enough time with them, and we don't know if they truly mesh with our staff. So it's really just finding the balance of, yes, we need to do this quickly and not put it off, but we also don't need to do it so quick that we get someone that doesn't work with our staff well. And then the other thing was just making sure we involve all staff members, especially if it's a team that has already meshed well together and we're introducing a new party. We need to make sure that it doesn't really affect the dynamics of that group too much, because that could create a whole nother set of issues. The next thing is staff and celebrations. The first thing that really stuck out to me here was choosing your battles. And what I mean by that is making sure as a leader you know exactly what you expect of your staff, and you have those high expectations, and that you're choosing those core values to really focus on, and you're not just nitpicking. And so this really goes back to, are you docking staff for not having an agenda created, or are you docking staff for attending a PLC and not contributing? Making sure your docs are really worth your time and they're very powerful. And then the other thing was celebrations. I feel like celebrations are important, but part of what we read and that really stuck with me is making sure they're meaningful and making sure staff knows why they're going on. So just making sure you say, yeah, you did a great job, but here is why. And then also including staff in that. Celebrations can be very meaningful if they come from your peers, because you know that they deal with the same things that you do. And so if they are telling you you did a good job, you really know that you did. The next thing I wanted to talk about was the double journal entries that we did. I really liked the format of this for a couple of reasons. It gave me a space to have some personal reflections based on the reading. I also got to incorporate memes, which, as you can tell, I really liked that. And then making connections with other texts. And the format of these double journal entries was one that I felt like I could really include in my classroom. So I was just going to take you over to mine just to kind of give you a sneak peek. As you can see, I used a lot of memes in mine, but I really liked this layout of talking about the text and then making your connection right next to it. So it's something that became very meaningful for me and very powerful for me. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about was APA formatting. This is an area that I really struggle in. I am not great with formatting with APA. I think everything that I turned in for pretty much any class has something on there about my formatting. But I really appreciated the constructive feedback that I got, because it really allowed me to kind of see, oh, that's where I'm going wrong, and make those corrections next time, so that I had fewer and fewer docs as the class went on.